Yesterday, besides us, Geraldo in Cleveland. Geraldo, hey, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Griff. You know, all things considered, I'd rather be in Afghanistan than in a line shopping on Black Friday at Target. I'll tell you that much.
You know what? There is a sense of purpose and camaraderie while being deployed with guys in that context that you just love, even if the turkey is not quite as good as you're used to. It's like out of a bag. It's still good. You're right. I can't relate to the idea of standing in the dark waiting to buy a flat screen television. Just saying. So I'm kind of with you on that, Geraldo.
Oh, no.
For sure. Now, you may have watched the NFL yesterday. You may not have. A lot of Americans stepping up to boycott or just watching their team. Well, President Trump was either watching or not watching, but he weighed in again this morning about the kneeling controversy in the NFL. This is what President Trump just tweeted just about an hour ago. He said, "Can you believe that the disrespect for our country, our flag, our anthem continues without penalty to the players? The commissioner has lost control of the hemorrhaging league. Players are the boss." As we noted yesterday, only one player kneeled, a defensive lineman for the New York Football Giants. Why is this such an important topic for the president? He keeps going back to it. He's litigating. A lot of Americans are passionate about it. What does it mean to him?
I think the president senses that he's on the right side of history and he's with the majority of Americans. You know, he can't say that about many or too many other issues. But on this one, I think people just get the sense, you know, give it a rest. You know, the world is not perfect. We have plenty of issues. That's what I was trying to tweet out yesterday. Let's put all of these divisions aside. Let's just enjoy your family, enjoy the meal, enjoy freedom, enjoy just the ability to have you know, a conversation across the table with someone that you love, or, you know, someone who holds a different political viewpoint than you do. Just cool it, everybody. Just, you know, just chill. And that's why when I saw that one player, you know, the giant defensive player there kneeling, I said, no, what the heck? I mean, come on. You know, can't you even on this day, can't we all be united? Sure, there are plenty of things that divide us. Yes, you know, the Native Americans had a rough time and their vision of Thanksgiving is different, or the people in the inner city suffer disproportionately. Whatever it is, whatever your issue is, today of all days, just cool down. And that's why I was disappointed. But I will say, you know, that we look at the bad news, the one guy protesting. The good news is he was the only one, as far as we know.
Geraldo, you know, you talk about people dividing others. Also yesterday, the president sharing a message of thanks and optimism with our troops, but one general seeking to divide us, saying it wasn't good enough. This is General Mark Hertling on another network. Here's what he had to say.
First of all, I'm thankful for the fact that he did address the soldiers, but the message that I heard and some of the things he said would have not rung very well with me had I been a deployed soldier. We have been winning. You're talking to soldiers and military personnel around the world who have been in this fight for 17 years, and to suddenly be told that they're winning now when they weren't winning before is somewhat insulting. First of all. And secondly, the comments about the economy and where the economy is growing, deployed service members don't want to hear about that. They want to hear, hey, thanks.
So, Geraldo, that's Lieutenant General Hertling, himself decorated Purple Heart, served this country, so have a lot of respect for him. But ultimately, he's saying he shouldn't say that we're winning, even though the caliphate has been destroyed under this president. He's untied the hands of our warfighters. And also, discuss with us this notion that the troops don't care about their economy. I mean, they're consumers, and they've got family members as well here. Do they not care about the home front that they're fighting for as well? What do you make of these comments? Sounds like he's trying to praise the president a little bit for talking about the troops, which you should do on Thanksgiving, but then taking it all back by saying, well, they don't really care about the economy.
You know, Pete, I have the same answer as I had in the first question you asked me. I honor General Hertling's service, a real warfighter, a real hero. You know, who am I to critique him and his feelings? But I will say, just as an American, just as someone who spent an awful lot of time with troops in deployment and so forth, that everything this president says on every other day of the year is construed by his critics in the most evil, negative way possible. He doesn't get a break. You know, it's constant. Whatever the issue is, you name it, hurricane relief or the economy or the kneeling or the family, the basketball players in China, whatever the issue is, the partisan press tears the president apart. And then those of us who like the guy, we just say, come on, this is not fair. This is not the way previous generals commented when the chief executive and the commander-in-chief spoke on a day of national Thanksgiving. This is the day you say, attaboy. This is the day you say, thank you, sir. You know, to nitpick it, in terms of winning the war, you know, I mentioned Afghanistan. I had 11 assignments there. If we were winning the war, why are we still in the war? I mean, it's a tough slog. Congratulations to this president and to President Obama toward the end of his second term in terms of the victory in Syria. Yes, we are finally, in Syria and Iraq, we are finally getting rid of ISIS. The caliphate has been destroyed. Long way to go. We salute everybody, man and woman, who serves in the armed forces of the United States for their sacrifice, for their courage, under fire particularly. And I just wish that the general had just cooled it.
Right,
and I wonder in retrospect if he doesn't think the same.
Geraldo, let me jump in there. Earlier, I pointed out I was with the USO tour around Thanksgiving some years ago, and you know this with your 11 assignments in Afghanistan and countless other ones in Iraq, and that is they could have, the troops, there's 99% boredom, 1% sheer terror. And when you're there on Thanksgiving, you have the camaraderie that Pete talked about, but you also still are dealing with the boredom. And to take your mind off of not being with your loved ones, you're open to anything. You would watch subtitled Japanese TV if you could. But to get the commander-in-chief to teleconference with you, to go to the Coast Guard, to spend time, to be there. And don't think you're not deployed even when you're stateside and you're dealing with things like hurricanes and other situations as the Coast Guard is. But describe for us what it's like to be with those troops and what I believe, with all due respect to General Hurling, was a backhanded compliment, an insult, if you will, because he said, well, good for the president, but they didn't want to hear this.
And in the full context of what the president said, he did talk a lot about winning with the troops when he was giving his Thanksgiving message. We're not fighting anymore to just walk around. We're fighting to win. And that might have been a message that would be well received by them.
You know, Molly, I was delighted that the First Lady and the President took time from their plush vacation in Mar-a-Lago to visit the Coast Guard station. The Coast Guard is often forgotten when we talk about the sacrifices of the armed forces of the United States. They do a hell of a job. They do a terrific job. And particularly now, after Irma and Harvey and Maria, you know, we saw up close and personally how the Coast Guard was intimately involved in helping Americans in a jam, in extremis, particularly on the water, obviously. And for the president to do that, I thought was a grand gesture. And to go to one unit is really, regardless of what the service is really to visit all of them. I've spent a lot of holidays, Thanksgivings and Christmas, deployed overseas. You know, on my assignments, my various assignments, and rather than turkey, you get some stringy chicken in some remote base someplace, and it's got dust in it, and your teeth crunch when you bite into it from the sand, not from any kind of exotic stuffing. And it counts a lot when people remember you. And that was my job there, covering the GIs deployed on these holidays, to remind Americans that here we are, our sons and daughters, our brothers and sisters, they are far, far away. They are fighting for you, for your freedoms, for your right to have that political discussion across the Thanksgiving table.
Geraldo, speak of Thanksgiving tables, how did you spend your Thanksgiving? America wants to know.
We have a house full here in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, there we are, all on the steps. You know, come on, kids. Here, I got some live ones here. The only ones I can get awake. Max and Georgia.
Oh, very nice. You need the stairs to fit everybody in.
My nephew and niece, they are my son Josh, my brother-in-law Josh and Liz's kids. Sol, my daughter, their age, is still upstairs. She's asleep. Most of them are in food comas. You know, we have plenty of. You wave if you can smile there. Great
morning,
athletes.
guys.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, kids. Okay.
Geraldo, I looked at that
Erica
picture.
was great. My wife was great.
I look at that picture on the stairs. It looks like you got a whole battalion there. We had a Geraldo's battalion in Cleveland.
We do. We have plenty. We had 21. We had 21 to dinner. You know, my son Cruz and Lauren came. So my 3 grandchildren, my oldest, actually I have 4 grandchildren in total. My son Gabriel's in
You've got your little baby there.
Yeah, that's Liam. He's the youngest. Or do I have Ella Rose? That's right. I have Ella Rose. Lauren has Liam, and then Erica is up there, and Jace, my oldest, and Sol, our 12-year-old, is by Erica, and then it goes up to Josh and the other family members up the stairs. Good thing I had a long staircase because we had a house full. Everybody had a great time. The football games were on. We weren't boycotting anything, so it was a lot of fun.
That's great.
Geraldo, thanks a lot.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Some great photos. Glad you had happiness in your home, and wishing the same to all of our viewers as well. Geraldo, thanks a lot.
And Geraldo, thank you for all those trips. Thank you for all those trips he went over there. You know, like Bob Hope, you go and you spend time. That is a sacrifice to go over with them.
It's good stuff.